What's going on, everybody? SEC Football Tube here, back with another video for you guys today. I'm out here sitting in the backyard. It's a beautiful evening here in Columbia, South Carolina. It's beautiful weather here right now. It feels really good. It's actually been feeling pretty good for the last few days. The weather's it's getting better. It's getting better. Pretty soon it won't be unbearable to be outside. Hasn't been, at least for the past week. But anyways, everyone knows it. Everyone's excited for it. But if you don't know it, I'll tell you. A big game this weekend in Columbia as the Gamecocks get ready to take on the 16th ranked LSU Tigers coming up to Columbia to take on battle at high noon. And the first thing I want to say, I want to be on record saying I have absolutely no hate or disrespect for LSU. None at all. I've actually liked LSU for a while, and I'll tell you why. In 2015, when, the game was supposed to be in Columbia, but it got moved to Louisiana because of historic flooding in Columbia that year. I remember I was here for it. It wasn't good. And LSU played our alma mater. And I'll never forget that. A class act and just great sportsmanship by LSU. And, my thoughts are with the people of Louisiana right now, especially of Baton Rouge and down at the coast as Hurricane Francine is making its way up there. I know what it's like to go for hurricanes. It's bad. It's bad. It's terrible. It's never fun. Hurricanes are serious things, and a lot of unfortunate consequences come from them. So I hope everyone down there is doing all right, and I hope everyone will be safe. And, again, my thoughts are with LSU and the people down in the coast in Louisiana. I just wanted that on record. No hate, no bad blood, no disrespect on my end for LSU. Of course, though, I'm going to be pulling for my Gamecocks on Saturday, needless to say. But big game for South Carolina, big game. For the first time in a while, South Carolina's got a national spotlight on them. College game day is coming to town on Saturday. We got a lot of media people coming down to Columbia for it. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a raucous environment. National attention. So many people have their eyes on this game. Carolina's getting a lot of love and attention after what they did last weekend in Kentucky. A lot of hype, a lot of excitement, and a lot of positivity. And I know that scares a lot of people. I've seen the talk all week long. People being scared because of all the national attention that South Carolina is getting, that they think the team is unfortunately going to, get lost in the hype and the hoopla. And I'll tell you, I like what Coach Beamer said. Because he even said something about this himself. It's easy to get lost in the hype and the hoopla and the attention, but the team has to remain focused. They have to remain focused, celebrate the win right, and they got to keep it going. Don't get caught up in the hype. You got to continue to prove yourself, because the same people who are hyping you up now are going to tear you down again if you lose this game or if you don't show up and do a good fight. And he's right about that. He's right about that. And I like that approach. I like the approach to, keep a level head, go out there, and make another statement. I like that approach. Don't get too lost in the hype or the hoopla. And obviously the team can't do that. They can't do that. And I'm glad that the coaching staff is, telling it to them like that, and they're having that approach. We'll see what happens on the field on Saturday, but I do like that approach so far. But anyways, you guys hear that owl? It's pretty cool. But anyways, well, I don't know. Is that an owl? That sounds like an owl. Anyways, I like the message to remain focused, avoid the outside distractions, because the noise is very loud right now. There's a lot of hype, but you got to remain focused. It's a big game this weekend, and it's a winnable game too for South Carolina. That's no disrespect to LSU. LSU's a good team, a very tough team, and that's going to be a major challenge for the Gamecocks, because LSU's offense is no joke. Their offensive line, one of the best O-lines in the SEC. But here's the thing. South Carolina's defensive line is one of the best defensive lines in the SEC. That's going to be a fun matchup. LSU's offensive line, South Carolina's defensive line. LSU's offensive line hasn't allowed one sack this season, and South Carolina's gotten 10 in 2 games. So that's going to be a fun matchup. Obviously, a lot of height within this defense, and I do believe this defensive line is going to make plays. LSU's offense they're going to play well too. It's going to be an exciting game, guys. But you do have an opportunity ahead of you. It's not an impossible task. It's not. Again, LSU's a good team. They are, but they're beatable. You think about LSU's defense, and they're not bad on the defensive front, in my opinion, but their secondary can get gashed. And I'm thinking, the offense still needs a lot of work. It's a work in progress, but they are getting better. They are improving. They're making strides. Lenora Sellers is making strides. The blocking needs to get better. And I will say, if the offensive line can make a big leap this game, if they can protect Lenora Sellers and allow him to connect with wide receivers, I think South Carolina could have and you need the offense in this game. You need the defense too, but you definitely need the offense. You need the offense to complement the defense. But if South Carolina can have some success on the offensive side of football and your defense continues to be amazing, LSU is going to make some plays offensively. Get ready for that, guys. They are. But if you can hold them in check, you got a really good shot to win this football game. You do. And do I need to tell you how huge starting 3-0 would be for South Carolina? Because you beat LSU. That's a ranked win, by the way. 2 big wins in the SEC. You're still undefeated in the SEC if you win this game. You're 3-0. You have Akron coming up, and you're likely going to beat them. So you might get 4-0 before heading into a very, very important bye week. This is a huge opportunity coming up for South Carolina football. But of course, the looming question for Gamecock fans like me is, will they take advantage of it? Will they get lost in the distraction and lay a giant egg on the field on Saturday? Or will they continue to carry over the positive momentum? And let me be clear, when I ask that question, I'm not doubting the team. I'm not doubting the team, but I am raising a question because the concern is there for Gamecock fans. We've all seen, unfortunately, in the past, Carolina, after a big win, they just lay an egg on the field the next week. It happens. But I'm just pointing out the chance is there for South Carolina to, honestly, a turning point start for their program. South Carolina's got a lot of hype after the win against Kentucky, and that's great. But you still have more to prove. Go out and do it again. Because that would be huge for keeping a spotlight, keeping love, keeping energy, keeping positive momentum. And all of that can be taken away in the span of a week. I mean, heck, did last week not prove something? In 1 week, the fan base went from we're winning 2, 3, 4 games to, oh my God, we can start 4-0. And a lot can change in a week based on a performance. And it's crucial to continue this positive momentum for your program. Make a statement for recruits. Make a statement to the national media that South Carolina is for real. And they are to be respected. Carolina ain't no punching bag anymore. We mean business. That's huge to prove that. And you have a chance to. You have a chance to this weekend. And again, there's a lot to improve on for South Carolina heading into this game. Offensive line has to protect Lenora Sellers. And Lenora Sellers has to be better in the pocket. And he's getting better. Lenora Sellers is getting better. And I feel like this offense is too. We saw some progression throughout the game on Saturday. We'll see if it carries over. And as a South Carolina fan, I really hope so. Because I have enjoyed seeing all the positive hype and love for my Gamecocks this week. And it was beautiful to watch what we did against Kentucky. Because, too many times as a South Carolina fan, I have had to endure SEC teams blowing us out on the road. Like, we go on the road and we get absolutely destroyed. But for once, we did it to someone else, and that felt really good. That felt really good. LSU is better than Kentucky, though. They're better than Kentucky. And I don't think Kentucky's all of a sudden some horrible team because they lost to South Carolina. I don't. South Carolina's defense, I believe, is very legit. I believe they are who they show they are. Will they continue it, though? Will they continue to have that success against one of the best offensive lines in the country on Saturday in LSU? Because that's going to be a big task, but not an impossible one. Again, when I say this, it's no disrespect to LSU. LSU's a good team, but they are gettable. They are gettable. There are problems that South Carolina can expose. And you got the home field advantage. I know it's at noon, but Williams-Brice, day or night, rain or shine, it's a hostile, raucous environment, and the fans will always give you an edge. They will. But the team is the one that's got to beat LSU, not the fans. Not the fans. At LSU, they're no joke. They're no joke. They're still a good team. And the thing is, eventually, I believe both of these football teams offensively are going to break out at some point. Is this the weekend for South Carolina? Or is this the weekend, God forbid, is this the weekend for LSU? We'll have to see. But one thing I will say for LSU is their starting rusher, unfortunately, is out for the rest of the season. They do have some injuries they're battling. And the thing is, again, South Carolina, one of the best defensive lines in the SEC, is going up against LSU, one of the best offensive lines in the country. LSU's got one heck of a lineman who he's only allowed a couple sacks in his career, from what I read. Dylan Stewart, though, and Kyle Kennard, Tonka Hemingway, they're going to be ready, and they are going to get after that LSU quarterback, or they're going to try. And I do believe South Carolina is going to pressure LSU offensively. But I do think LSU, again, is going to get some plays. They're going to get theirs, guys. They are. I don't think LSU is going to be able to run the ball very well against South Carolina. Maybe I'm wrong. I do think South Carolina is going to be able to contain the run a bit. But LSU through the air can be very dangerous. And that's where they can get you. That's where they can get you. But again, like I said, South Carolina's got some really nasty edge players that can help give them an advantage on Saturday. We saw some things too. LSU could be beaten the secondary as well. You're gonna have to throw the ball in this game, guys. You're gonna have to. You're gonna have to. Hey, Mazio Bennett, keep using him. Joshua Simon, please, for the love of God, put in Nick Harbor. Please. Use him, guys. Last year when the fans were chanting for Nick Harbor, whenever he got out, he mossed people and made plays. And I get it. That was against a very bad Florida defense. But, LSU, it can work against people like LSU too. It can. Got to use your big-time playmakers. There were times where LSU has been kind of, struggling to stop the run. So, and of course, the weather, too. I'm not an Ohio State fan. I'm not going to blame the weather, win or lose. But I will say, Rocket Sanders, use him, too. We're going to have to see, because a lot of it's going to depend on the offensive line and the blocking and how well can Carolina block. Because LSU, they can get after you. They can get after you, and there's a lot of improvements needed for South Carolina offensively, especially with blocking, offensive line. And they're getting better, and they're going to get better throughout the season. We'll see how better they are on Saturday. We'll see. Because it wasn't, look, despite what the scoreboard said in Lexington, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, guys. It wasn't. But, hey, that's why you play the game. And I do believe South Carolina's made some improvements. And, again, I think this will be a fun matchup, guys. I really do. But, again, like Coach Beamer said, got to stay focused. Do not get lost in the hoopla or the hype. Avoid the distractions, guys. Avoid it, please. Don't focus for LSU because they are a good football team. And just because you're getting a lot of hype and attention doesn't mean you're guaranteed a win on Saturday. Not at all. The game isn't played in media wars or national attention. It's played on the football field. And that's where you got to show up. Prepare accordingly. Remain focused. And get ready, fellas, because it's going to be a fun day at Williams-Brice Stadium. I really believe that. We'll see who wins. I'm going to make a prediction video on Friday where I'll give my final thoughts. It's going to be a hard prediction for me to make, man, because I've gone back and forth on this one. Obviously, I'll be pulling for my Gamecocks no matter who I pick for this one. But like I said, you got one heck of an opportunity. It's crucial to continue positive momentum going into the program. We'll see how the Gamecocks respond. Thank you all so much. Your boy, SEC Football 2, checking out. Go Cox!